Hey, what's up everyone? Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye here, and we are approaching the end of 2014. So what does that mean? I want to run through kind of all the main brands that we have in the photography industry and give out the main cameras that came out this year that have done really well, the most popular ones, and maybe just kind of round off the year with my opinion on things and how I see things going. So let's dive into this right now. 2014, was this the year of mirrorless, or was it the year of everything being about 24 megapixels, which is what it seemed? Let's dive into it right now. Once again, thank you to everyone who has joined us this year. I mean, we've had about 5,000 subscribers this year compared to last year. Come and join the channel. It's growing. That's really awesome, and we're almost approaching 1 million views within 2 years. I'll almost be there by the end. So within January, the channel hit 1 million views, and that's because of you guys. So thank you very much. But 2014 was a big year for a lot of things in this industry. A lot of big announcements. Did some things fail? Yeah, but did some things really take off? Did the consumer, prosumer, professional market go crazy? I think they did. And I want to start off with one of the main cameras, one of the most popular selling, one of the beasts of this year is going to go to Canon and their 7D Mark II. And as you can see here, this improved on the 7D, which is extremely popular a couple of years ago. And, it did something different. It has this E&G-like style autofocusing system, and that's why it did so well. It has a dual pixel AF sensor. It's really great, really fast, really snappy, and really accurate. This thing does really well in low light. Canon sold a ton of these so far, and I think it does 10 frames per second, which is absolutely amazing with the 20 megapixel sensor, and they're using one of the Hydrogic 6 image processors. So this was something to beat this year, the Canon 7D Mark II. So if you have one of these, it'd be really interesting to see what you guys have to say. Write that down below. So that was Canon's big camera of the year. They had like the Rebel T5, the T5i or whatever, and it was okay, but it's a little overpriced, and the reason I say that, I'll cover that in 1 minute. But it's not a bad camera in the in the crop sensor game. So Canon didn't do a ton this year in regards to anything totally mind-blowing, totally different, but this was their mind-blowing camera of the year. And Nikon, I have to say, this was their Nikon D750, a 24 megapixel camera. And essentially what they say right here on Nikon Unchained, they basically tried to do everything they haven't done in a camera and throw it into this thing. They still didn't do a touchscreen, but this is the first camera that really started integrating a tilting LCD monitor in a different way, not sideways. They tried something that Sony has had for a long time in their way, so they're still kind of copying Sony in that way. And they did it built-in Wi-Fi, and they improved they did their best to improve the autofocusing system, which I still think, yeah, it's faster, it's a little more snappy, but it's not that much far off of the the 610 series and stuff like that. So that's a little overblown. But this camera, extremely popular. I got hands-on with it. You can check out my review. I really enjoyed it. It's a weird fit. They made it smaller to be more a lightweight, a full frame camera, but to me that kind of messed it up. But this is a top camera for them this year. So in the more of the consumer game, though, I really wanted to pick out a camera between the Nikon, Canon. In regards to DSLRs, calm down, everyone. I'm covering the whole range of things. The Nikon D3300, this thing is like $450, and you're getting 1080p video at 60 frames per second, 24 megapixels. That's why I mentioned that earlier. So you're getting a really strong camera for, essentially not a lot of money. I mean, it's decently fast. It had the X-Speed 4 processor, and it gives you what it needs, 5 frames per second. You're not shooting sports with it anyway, but I mean, to get in the game, it's absolutely insane. When I first started out, the D3000, didn't even have video or anything at the time, and that was like $600 to $700. So now it's really cheap to get in the game, and the D3300 really kind of steals the game in that regards. So that kind of wraps out my, the two main DSLR type, segments of 2014. Canon struck it big with their 7D Mark II, which isn't full frame, and Nikon struck really home. They had their D810, which came out. that did okay. You know, it's just pretty overpriced. A lot of people didn't buy it because they already had the 800, the 800E, but the 750 came out and people went crazy. So that's kind of the wrap up for that. I really, really like the D3300 in regards to something that, you know, really changed the game. But speaking of change the game and how I meant things mirrorless, Sony and who was it? Sony and Samsung kind of went crazy, but more or less, Sony went crazy in regards to the mirrorless game this year. And pretty much one of the mirrorless cameras of the year, this isn't on sale price because it's around the holidays, the time of this filming, but was the A6000 mirrorless interchangeable lens. And as you see right here, you're getting everything that you need. It's once again, it's interchangeable, so they really, really made it portable. And this is something that a lot of companies had to compete with this year. So this was really a top camera pretty much overall for 2014. So once again, 24 megapixels as well. So to kind of keep going down that route, this is something I might be interested in as well, even though I'm a Fuji X100 owner. Still not sure about what I want to do there. But the Cybershot RX100 version 3. Version 2 did really, really well last year. Came out with this. They integrated a newer, brighter Zeiss lens, which is something a lot of people wanted because the other one was like a 1.8 to like a 4.6 float. This is a 1.8 to a 2.8, and it, you know, they just did a couple little different things. But this camera right here, it's really strong as well. I'm trying to get hands-on with that again so that way I can film my own review. But they didn't stop there this year. They did announce the A7S full-frame mirrorless camera. Once again, this is very, very strong. A lot of video people are actually using this as well. But yeah, so you're getting your 12.2 megapixels, and the big thing that they included this year was the 4K video, you know, option, which this was the year of 4K essentially. It's when everything came out. That's when all these monitors and everything came out. And the Sony A7S didn't disappoint because that's what a lot of people have used, and especially on the video side of things, that's where Sony became really, really strong. But you know, keep going on from there. The Fujifilm has been knocking this out of the freaking park. And they did with the X100T. This thing's like $1,300, but you're getting a lot. 16.3 megapixels. Typically, their other cameras were, you know, 12 megapixels. But this thing, you know, it's fast. That's one thing that they always have improved on was the focusing speed of this thing. And they really, really have. So this has been a top camera this year. X30 has been a top camera. This, you know, this superseded the X10, the X20, and this just kind of gets you into the game more or less. And 12 megapixels is perfectly fine with this. And they integrated a tilty little screen on this thing. And last but not least, you have your XTI, which in a way is comparing to the A6000. Once again, in a way, I mean, the price point is a little different, but, you know, essentially it's the same thing. You know, just take another look at it. Interchangeable, you know, kind of similar specs, I guess, in a way, but that's what they're doing so far. How about Pentax? Yes, Pentax actually made some moves this year. What did they do? Boom! It's 6457. I actually went to B&H Photo in New York, and I played with this thing. Yes, it's $8,500, but it's essentially a 52 megapixel sensor, medium format camera, so you see every little speck on someone's skin. But this year they released that. I don't know how well this sold 100%, but this is your studio commercial camera photography camera, if that makes sense. So this was a big year for Pentax. They tried getting in the game. They're trying to, you know, to go up with the Hasselblads and the Phase 1 type of thing, you know, but essentially you can, you know, you still buy a used car or put down a payment on a house for that price. And we're down to Panasonic. Panasonic did a lot this year. Essentially what they did was raked the entire market for 4K video. And that's what they did. They included it with their LX100, and, you know, you can see right here, you know, something more portable. This is everyone trying to be, you know, more portable, more compact, which is basically what this falls under. And essentially this is a micro four thirds, you know, sensor. You know, you know, just reading it right here, 4K video, 24 to 75. That's a pretty good range, 1.7 to 2.8 f-stop of a lens. So the float isn't that bad as well. But once again, it's all about their 4K video and getting really, really deep into it. Their GH4, not a lot to say differently here. This thing blows the market away in regards to video, in the market. So that's really what we're working with here. And then just really wrap things out. So Samsung, did their best to put out something. I don't know how well it did. I played with it a little bit recently when I went, to a store, and it's okay. It once again does 4K video. It's 28 megapixels, which is a little different and interesting. And I think right here it says 15 frames per second APS-C size sensor, and it shoots at 1/8,000th of a second with your shutter. So this is really kind of the year in review. You have a lot of 20-something megapixel cameras that came out, a lot of mirrorless point-and-shoot size cameras. You definitely shot 4K video this year. But one of the big things had to be the dual pixel autofocusing system that this gave. Nikon tried their best to do a lot of different things. Sony's trying to own the market in regards to basically the interchangeable mirrorless game, I'll say. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with the five axis stabilization that they're going to do. Fuji's going to keep doing their line of things, which they niche themselves in. Pentax might do a 5,000 megapixel sensor sometime, you don't know. But essentially this is what it's going to be. That's how it's going to be. So this was the year of 4K. This was the year 24, 0.4 megapixels, and it was the year for just a lot of mirrorless attempts to come out. What is 2015 going to be like? I think you're going to get fully immersed with everything becoming 4K, which still a lot of people won't need, don't understand, and cannot fully actually edit and produce. Anyway, you can't view it because you don't have the proper monitors and everything for it. So that's going to be like a really overblown thing, but I'm going to see that's going to become more commonplace for 2015. You're going to get a Canon or a Nikon to go in with a it's going to be a full frame body. It's not going to be like a 1DX or like a D4S. You're going to get a really, really compact 40 megapixel, 50 megapixel, something that's going to cost, $3,500, in that range. I don't know. That's just a guess on my part, but you're definitely going to see a lot more video. And who knows? I also talked about Intel in a recent video where they basically did a different version of how Lytro did their, focusing after technology. And I have a feeling that what Intel's doing with their refocusing might incorporate into the industry somehow within the next year, or at least the next year or two. So this is something to really keep an eye on. So Nikon's going to really try to catch up in their games in regards to video and what features to put in. Canon's been interesting. They've been just like kind of stagnant. They'll put out something big and then just not do much from there, just like their 7D Mark II. Sony's going to continue to try to ramp up the video game, their full frame market, and what's going to be interesting to see how the Mark II uses that 5 image stabilization, that axis. Yeah, I think that's what that's going to be. I really want to know what you guys think. What is your favorite cameras from the spectrum of 2014? What's maybe something that I missed that you think, was even more popular or was even, more profound within 2014? And also, what do you think 2015 will be like? Are we going to get more megapixels? Are we going to get different video? Are we going to get 8K video, which is something that's already out there? Obviously not the industry standard yet, but it's something that's already done. Are we going to get that souped up video that's going to come up towards maybe mid-year, end of the year, where 4K is, integrated a ton, and then 8K is going to come? Let me know what you guys and girls have to think down below in the comments. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. That was 2014, essentially the year in review for the top-rated cameras, at least to me, or, at least what the market was saying. And I think I covered it pretty well. So thank you very much for watching. Once again, comment down below your favorites, what's next, etc. Let's look at 2015. What's it going to be? We don't know. Have a good one.